Hi y'all, welcome to the Craft Table Podcast. My name is Tori. You can reach me or see what I'm working on at the Instagram or Making app as at the Craft Table Podcast. If you'd like to shoot me an email, you can send me an email at thecrafttablepodcast@gmail.com. I am receptive to either or. I don't have a preference. You could DM me or send an email. Either one works. DM I'll probably see sooner just because I have to manually check my email. Comes up as a notification on my phone if you're DMing me. I am recording a day late. Life kind of got a little crazy, and today I'm off of work for a medical procedure, so I figured I would sneak in and get a podcast episode since, frankly, I forgot yesterday was Tuesday, and it just was a rough week and weekend, so I figured I would just sneak one in real quick, especially because the testnet that I've been working on has been released officially on Ravelry, and I wanted to talk about that today, just to touch on some features and explain the pattern a little bit and share why it's a great pattern to invest in if you need an outerwear layering cardigan. I also am going to share a little bit about another project I'm working on. Other than that, I don't really have anything to share. I haven't had a lot of time to craft, and so everything's kind of hit a standstill. But to start us off, I have been spinning pretty regularly. I am working on the last and final skein for my testnet. I did not finish the testnet in time for the pattern release on the 10th, or I'm sorry, I think it was the 11th of this month, June 11th if you're watching later. And so I'm just wrapping up. I'm working on the first of 2 bobbins to get my last traditional 2-ply. I'm not going to just ply from one bobbin and do a 2-ply. I'm going to actually do the traditional so I can get as much yardage to also do the button band, because all I have left is the button band and a couple decreases left on the sleeve. So yeah, that's what I've been prepping fleece, carding fleece, and spinning fleece. That's been the majority of my crafting time. Not a whole lot of anything else. I finished the last skein that I had on my testnet, which I'll grab now. You've seen a lot of it already. I'll share it again when I finally finish it. But I wanted to share it one last time just because before finishing it, because like I said, the pattern is out now. It's called Kingston Cardigan by Taylor Owen. I'll link it below so that if you're interested in purchasing it, it's there. The testnet experience. Oh, am I losing a stitch? Hold on, I lost a stitch. Okay, I've picked it back up. So the testnet experience was, I don't think I'll testnet again because I learned that I can't force myself to do a project. That's pretty hard for me. It kind of ruins some of the creativity that I get out of working. It takes away from the process because I am a process knitter. So I won't be doing that again, but the testnet was interesting. It was good to try this out and see how a designer thinks. I really enjoyed learning about this process. I appreciate it. Taylor was a great designer to testnet for. She's extremely supportive and really cares about how the garment will fit larger bodies, not just her own smaller sized body. So it was really a great positive experience to be test knitting for her. I went ahead and testnet, and she also supported me in test knitting with Handspun, which I don't think I've seen other test knitters really go ahead and say yes to, at least from the more popular test knitters or test knitting. How should I say this? It's not what I typically see for designers when they share their test knitters projects at the release of a pattern. I don't see handspun being used, and that might just be because hand spinners aren't really test knitting, or it takes so much time to hand spin that we already have projects in mind. I just don't know what the reason is for that, but it was nice to see that she would allow that. So I did do that, and you all know that it's a mixture of a fin and a Cornwall cross. First half was fin. Second half, which you can kind of see a slight difference in color. Second half was the Cornwall cross. Same weight, same grist, nothing changed there. There is some details in this pattern, which I don't think you can really see on camera. Let's see if I can get this to show. No, you can't really see it on camera, but there's, no, you can't really see it. But there's a cable that goes up and down here that comes from either side of the raglan. So the raglan has this very dainty, yeah, you can't see it, but it's just because it's hard to see in person too because of the Handspun, but it's a really pretty feature. And if you look at other chest knitters who did a pure single color and not like this multicolor Handspun mixture, you can tell that that you can see the details of the raglan a lot better, and the cabling that comes down from the raglan down to the sides. So very pretty and fun technique. I think it would be great for anybody who wants to learn how to cable. It was very simple. I didn't use really a cabling needle for most of it. Not really necessary, but you can get a cabling needle if you need to, or you could just use another spare needle, which is what I did sometimes. So I definitely recommend it. I think it would be really great for anyone wanting to have an oversized cardigan that would go over other hand knits. I know this one has plus 10 plus positive ease for me now because my weight has changed since starting this project. It'll be great. I know that I will personally be wearing it over other hand knits and heavier garments for the winter months or the colder late fall, early winter cold time period. Like that'll be great for then, as like instead of wearing a coat, wearing the cardigan, especially because I spun it so tightly that it'll be pretty strong and pretty sturdy to wear as an outside garment. So I'm looking forward to that. I highly recommend it to anyone who is thinking about it or wants to learn cabling but also wants to make themselves a garment. It is cropped. I cropped mine a little bit shorter than the pattern calls for because if I hadn't, it would have been a full-length cardigan on me. The yoke is pretty deep, so you've got plenty of armpit room if you don't like things touching or being so close to that side of that part of your body, which was another feature that, from my understanding, Taylor talked about this in her most recent podcast episode. She just kind of explains why she did certain things and the features of it. I would highly recommend it. It's a great breakdown of the pattern and why she did what she did. It is very interesting, and it'll help you make the decision of whether you want to knit it or not. I would recommend it. All the problems that came out of this pattern were not because of the pattern itself. It just was me learning things and also having things change and also using Handspun. Handspun is a little bit unpredictable, so it makes things a little bit harder. But I did knit to gauge. It just, Handspun is its own beast. But so yeah, I am almost done with the second sleeve, as you can see. And then I will just pick up these stitches on the side here. That's the wrong side. I'll be picking up stitches along the side and then along the collar here. And I will do my button band. And she has a really fun, interesting way to do her button band, like single hole buttonholes and then like an I-cord edging on the button band. Excuse me, it's very, I'm just losing my train of thought. Sorry. It's very pretty, it's not something you really see on button bands, so I definitely think it's a great detail. but I haven't really worked on it since running out of yarn because I have to make more yarn. So it's been a slow process of making more yarn. In between making and spinning and prepping and washing fleece, I have been working on another hand spun sweater. I believe I've shared this in the past. I had to fix it this morning because the cats went crazy last night and I think dragged my cardigan by accident and pulled some stitches off the needles. But I've talked about this in the past, but I'll just share again. It is my first fleece project. This is the CVM. It looks a little dirty here. It used to be a moret, but the sheep, salts of the sheep that this came from had aged, so the moret had faded. So now it's more of like a dirty cream. Yeah, I'd say like a dirty cream or the palest of tans you've ever seen, either one. This is my first skein. I knit it, I spun it 3-ply, traditional 3-ply, fingering weight. The singles were insanely tiny, but it was a great practice and it was really good. It's still kind of got a little bit of lanolin in it because I didn't really know how to wash that out yet properly. So it's made knitting a little bit not as fun, but that's okay. It's still an interesting project. And then the second one is this hand-dyed from Spin Delicious Cormo top that it's just a single braid that I purchased. Oh, I've got a piece hanging out. Let me just slip that back in. Oh no, it's actually kind of loose. Let me just, there we go. Yeah, tuck that back in so it doesn't get lost. But as you can see, it's got varying shades of pinks and dark purples in it. I can't remember the name of this particular braid. It was Petals or something like that. Something Petals, I believe. I think so. But it's on her Cormo base, so 100% Cormo. So soft. It is a dream. It was so fun to spin. I spun for a fingering weight 2-ply so that I could get the most out of that braid. It did fluff up quite a bit after washing it, so I think is closer to a sport weight now compared to the fingering to lace weight that I have of the CVM. So it makes for an interesting little knitting experience, but I've been really enjoying it. So this is it's a color weight, it's a color work yoke. This is my color. The other ball of yarn, as you saw, or cake of yarn, is the main color. I haven't done much. It's the Azor sweater. You can't really see too much. It's still pretty early in the process. I've done a few increases. It's not a whole lot. It also might be a little hard to see until the motif is done. I did alter this pattern, so I'll share that with you now. This is just a regular top-down sweater. I wanted to make it a cardigan. So what I did was, this is the back. So the round starts in the back. Oh, and you can see my cute little From Hello Lavender mushroom. Oh my goodness, my brain just doesn't want to work with me today, guys. I'm sorry. Her mushroom club pre-order that she did with Coast to Coast yarn a little while ago. But that's the back. So then I had to add 5 stitches in the front, which would be my steek stitches. And they're right here. So you can see that they've stopped the color work. I should probably raise this a little bit. The color work is on either side of these 5 steek stitches, and I've got them marked with these little corresponding stitch markers from the mushroom the mushroom pre-order that I purchased from Hello Lavender. Yeah, so that's the steek stitches. They're not supposed to be there, but I added them because I want to make this a cardigan rather than a top-down sweater. I feel like I would get more wear out of it as a cardigan. Oh, excuse me. I am just... Wow. Sorry, guys. This has been a week. Oh, and now you'll hear the kittens fight and play. But I added those steek stitches, and what you would do is cut down the middle of these 2 strips that you see here of color. You'd go right down that middle section, and then each side would be tucked under and stitched down to secure. And then you would pick up your button band, of course, on either side of the stitches. Oh, it actually looks pretty good right here. Yeah, so this is where I'm at. Not too much done on the chart so far. I'm knitting a size large, I believe. It's got some positive ease in it. It's a really interesting pattern. I really loved what I saw on Instagram and Ravelry for this project. I am finding it to be really enjoyable. I think the construction is interesting. You don't start with a neckband, you just immediately start knitting the colorwork chart after doing some short rows in the back. You pick up the button band much later, so that'll help, or not the button band, but the neckband much later, so that'll give me a little bit of like wiggle room, and it'll help with the neckband and the button band situation that I'm making out of this sweater turned cardigan. I haven't seen anyone else turn this pattern into a cardigan, so I'll definitely document my notes when I'm done and explain the process, but this is what I've been knitting on in between soaks of the fleece and prepping and carding and spinning. It's been really nice. I've been enjoying it. It is going, it's potato chippy because the color work is pretty potato chippy. You just follow and follow, go around and around and around. It's really great. The way that I put the steek stitches right in the dead center of the middle, and that is making it so that I've split the motif a little bit, but I'm not too upset about that. You can, like, in other patterns that I've seen people do with color work, there are like sections of color work that you can kind of like move over or make smaller, and this is color work that just would not do that. It's pretty continuous and repetitive, small repeats through the whole thing, so I'm not too bothered by how that'll look at the end. I know that it might bother some people. Oh, there's Bean. I think me and her are playing. But yeah, so that is, so it could bother some people, but it's not bothering me. I think that there are ways that you can mitigate that if you wanted to, but I am not that advanced in my knitting, and nor do I care that much in my knitting. I just wanted to make it a cardigan, and that's fine with me. I'm not fussy, and I knew because one of my good friends had helped me turn a front and back cardigan into a steek cardigan so that you could just knit in the round. So I knew from that experience like how to do this and what you needed to do, and there are resources online to kind of help you put in a steek where there wouldn't have been a steek. And some people add steeks after the fact that they've knit around a circular, or they've just knit a sweater and not a cardigan, where they will cut up the middle anyways. Like, some people are very adventurous. I'm not. I wanted to just add it in there, and plus my yarn is non-superwash, so it's not as slippery as superwash. If I would not have done this with the superwash yarn at all. Like, I just would have not done that, but because it's a non-superwash, the stitches will hold together a lot better, and when I wash it before steeking, they will kind of like settle into their places in the yarn, in the knitting, and not everything's gonna unravel as soon as I take scissors to it. It is I've never steeked anything yet, but because of the non-superwash qualities, I'm not worried about steeking. I gave myself plenty of room. I did the 5 stitches instead of like say 3 stitches. I'm using a specific yarn that makes it so that steeking isn't an issue. I'm doing everything that I can so that I'm not worried about it unraveling. That's it. It's really been fun. I'm enjoying it. I think it's a great project. I would not recommend trying to do this if you're a brand new knitter, and maybe not with precious yarn. Well, this is kind of precious yarn, but I'm committed. I'm just gonna do it. It's a learning experience. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but I have a feeling it will. So that's just kind of where I'm at. That's what I'm working on. I'm not working on anything else. Like I said, today I have a procedure that I need to do, an outpatient procedure, so I will go in and go home. That's a little bit later, but I can't eat, so I'm starving and I'm a little tired. Can't have caffeine, so I'm just like, it's probably why I'm yawning and not really functioning at the moment. And then my dog has surgery later this month, so life has been a little hectic. I'm going to do my best to try and stay on top of recording at least within a day or two of my original Tuesday dates. I might have to go on hiatus the first few weeks of Maggie's surgery because I have to be on top of her 24/7 to make sure that she's not moving or doing anything to ruin the surgery site or get infection or anything like that. Right now she's like laying on the mattress I brought down for her. So she's doing really good with staying still right now. But yeah, so life is gonna get a little hectic and I probably won't have a lot to share. I'll try and share as much as I can, but I just probably won't get a lot of a lot of my creativity probably won't be with me for a while, just because I'm dealing with so much and trying to make sure everyone is okay. So that all to say, I'm going to do my best to stay on top of the schedule that I've put forward. I'm going to share what I've been doing, even if it's a little bit. I am also going to share anything spinning or prepping related, like I did last week. I think that's really important and helpful to other people. If you want to see anything or hear about anything specifically, let me know. I'll be happy to do a little bit of research or share what I know in any episodes that to kind of like help buffer some of the like lack of real progress on projects. Just hit me up and let me know, and I'm happy to like work on anything. I did forget to mention I am wearing a hand knit sweater today. I am wearing let me just put my handspun project. So I'm doing 2 handspun sweaters. This is not handspun. This is the So Summer shirt from Jessie May Designs, and the yarn is this beautiful Tesla base from Plies and Hellhounds, and her colorway, you can kind of see it a little bit better here. Her colorway Previous Yarn Engagement. It is a merino, no, my bad. It's a BFL silk blend. Yeah, BFL silk blend. Her Tesla base, fingering weight. It's beautiful. It's really soft. I love it. I wear this sweater as much as I can. I didn't think I'd ever wear a t-shirt sweater, but I'm loving it. It's great. They're really comfortable. I've mentioned before in the past that this is a really wide neckline, so I might take my very tiny spare yarn and try and like pick up stitches and do maybe a quick I-cord to pull it in. I'm not sure. Everything else, as you can see, both the edging of the armholes and then the bottom of my sweater are folded hem. I could have done folded hem for the neckline, but I don't have enough for folded hem, so that's why I didn't do it. Other than that, I think it's a really great pattern. It was really easy, very plain knitting, so that if you wanted to sit in front of a TV show, you could. I don't know if I'll make any others. I might do the flutter butt shirt because she's got a really cute little ruffly top. And she's doing a couple other tops. She's got like the outline tank and outline tee and stuff like that. So I might do more of those. Or I think I have plans to do another sweater t-shirt, but with Samantha Guerin designs. I've knit up one of her shawls, loved it. Her pattern writing is wonderful, very straightforward and clean. She just released a top called Salty Air Tee, and it's got this beautiful lacing in the lace detail in the yoke. I have cat sandwich yarn that I've set aside for a top. I'm gonna have to use I have 2 skeins of her trusty base that is like 463 yards per skein, but I won't have enough for my size for the ribbing, so I'll probably do a coordinating color to do all of the ribbing in, so I'm not sure if that'll take away from the pattern, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to that when I get time to do that. So, but I would recommend, if you haven't tried it before, definitely try a knit top, like a knit t-shirt. It is fun. There's plenty of really great patterns out there, plenty of size inclusive patterns thanks to Jessie Made Designs and her work. Also, Jacqueline Cieslak has a few that I know. Quite a few of my plus size friends have made and love, and non-plus size friends have made and love. And you can always make them out of linen instead of wool. I didn't have to make this top out of wool and silk. That's just what I had and I wanted to do it. Plus I love this colorway so much. I have 4 skeins of this in DK that I'm thinking of doing either a vest or a shawl in. So I'm like in love with this color. And I'm also in love with the designer's work, or not the designer, but the yarn dyer's work. So I'm definitely going to be making, that's why I used it for this. But I think it's a great fiber content anyways for this top, especially early fall, early spring. I think it's a really good, it works out really well. Fall and spring, this is great. Maybe not the dead of winter, definitely not in, well, I'm wearing this in summer, so I can't really say anything. But beside all the rambling, I definitely recommend it. I think it's great. It's definitely fun, and it's quicker than a full-blown sweater. I would recommend it to anyone who's been debating on knitting some of these tops that are being published right now. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's quick, and you'll probably get a lot of wear out of it if you wear your regular sweaters. You just have, it gives you longer, it gives you more time to wear your hand knits if you don't just knit purely sweaters and cardigans and stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to say. Life is going to be very busy. It is very busy. It's impacting my creativity right now, so I might not have a lot to share, but I will do my best to continue sharing and staying on time with my recordings. Like I said, this one was a little late, so I apologize, but hopefully next week I'll be on time. If not, I'll let y'all know. I'll post it somewhere. Feel free to share what you're working on if you're doing a summer top. I'd be curious to hear any patterns that you might be working on, because I'm sincerely considering doing more summer tops or more t-shirt design, more t-shirt knitting. So if you have any patterns you're working on or would like to work on, I would love to hear them down below. If I run into anything, I'll definitely share, but like I said, I'm thinking of the Salty Air Tee, or the Salty Air sweater, or I think it's Salty Air Tee is what Samantha Guerin is calling it. Yeah, I would check that one out if you haven't already. She's got a couple other t-shirt designs too that are really cute, like the petal crop top that she has, which is really pretty. Also another one that I've debated. So yeah, definitely recommend it. I hope you have a good rest of your week. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye guys.